everyone, welcome back to race 2 at Lydden Hill in the classic 2CV Racing Championship, and what a race we have for you today. But first, let's quickly cover qualifying. Bit of a hectic one with lots going on, but I'll try and keep it short and sweet for you guys today. Out the box, I wasn't really where I wanted to be, so we backed off initially in order to try and find a suitable dance partner for the session. 48 SL racing car George Broadhurst asked for a waltz, but unfortunately I was looking for more of a tango on this occasion, so I had to leave him at the bar and try and go at it alone. We then moved on to my second flying lap, and it was Martin Ryman and another car finding the barrier, and unfortunately bringing out the red flags just 3 minutes into the session. So back to the pits, and after a short intermission we will let back out again, this time following the KT Motorsports car, Alex Cockhill, as we made our way through some traffic. So following Alex Cockhill in the KT Motorsports car on another flying lap, up the hill towards their hairpin. I was in an absolute flyer of a lap at this point, but I'd just gotten that little bit too close to Alex, and he broke just a bit earlier than I'd wanted him to, and in order to avoid ploughing into the back of him, I had to abort the lap, go straight on. And that was that. So lining myself up for another flying lap. Little mistake going around the final corner, scrubbing a bit of speed off. At that point I just chucked it far too hard into turn 1, really deep, onto the slippery stuff, back end steps out, and I narrowly miss hitting the wall there. If I'd have gotten to that grass, that would have been over and done with for me there. So on my final flying lap, we caught a bit of traffic, but actually Andrew Bull let me pass very nicely, which didn't hamper me too much. But on the final corner, I just had to lift that little bit in order to not catch the 96 car at the wrong time. So maybe lost another tenth there on my final flying lap. But we have qualified P2, which is fantastic, a time of a 57.388. Just over a tenth off of the leader of Alex Cockhill, who put it on pole. Nick Crispin in third, Luca Peretti, my teammate, in fourth, and Tom Perry, a car to watch, in P5. So that is your top 5. That was qualifying, and we'll jump straight into the race now as we build the revs and wait for the lights. We're off, and it's a good start initially. I've got a better launch than Alex Cockhill, who was in pole there, but down between the two of us is Luca Peretti, who's got a phenomenal start. I didn't see him there, but we finally managed to give him the room, and he makes his way up to the lead. Alex Cockhill holding firm defence there, and now it's time for me to do the teammate deed and give Luca a bit of a push, get his nose ahead and keep myself in the game. Down into Devil's Elbow, take the inside and try and get ahead of Alex as well. But he gets a great run round the outside, and he's ready to try and make a move, but my front end is just beside him, so he's not getting through there. I'm not going to let him through. Round the outside, take a deep line and get ready to push Luca again down the hill. Alex still holding defence there, but we push, side by side with Alex Cockhill through the final corner. We've got to make this stick. A little bit sketchy, and Luca goes a bit wide, putting his wheel on the gravel there, and I've got to pass him now because I can't push him from there. Split the two cars and round the outside for turn 1 of Alex Cockhill, who's still there holding defence. As you can see, good line up from both of us. We're now side by side, and I've got to try and make this move stick down into Devil's Elbow. Let's push. But a little bit of a better run round the outside. But as you can see from Nick Crispin's on board, Tom Perry comes, throws it down the inside with a fantastic move. I wasn't looking for him, I was looking at Alex Cockhill. So I completely missed that attack, but it's alright. Now defending a little bit from Alex, who's giving me a bit of a push. Can't quite get up the inside of Tom Perry there, who's managed to secure his lead. And now I need to decide whether I'm going to push him, try and pull away from the guys behind, or if I want to try and pass him and make a break myself. It'd be very difficult to pull away on my own from this pack behind. We've got 5 very quick drivers and 5 very quick cars there, as I give Tom Perry a bit of a push out the last corner. And he gives me the thumbs up. That is my cue to help him out and work together to try and build a gap to the guys behind. So pushing where I can, and just for the moment following him through. So no move's going to be made at this point. It's a long race, and I've got to think about the bigger picture here. I've got some really quick drivers behind of Alex Cockhill. Nick Crispin's there, Andrew Bull's there, Luca Peretti was there, but he's unfortunately had to retire already because his throttle was stuck wide open and he couldn't continue with that issue. So unfortunately, teammate, the Bacon 1 car has had to retire. But we'll focus on this race for ourselves, sitting in P2 at the moment, and time really just to be patient and follow this gadget car through. Defending from the guys behind, they're all over me still, so we'll just have to be patient. Another thumbs up there to tell him I'm not going to attack you, I'm going to help push, as he throws it in there, losing the rear end just a little bit, but we'll follow through. It's interesting to note that the gadget car is a very quick car, but Tom just seemed that little bit slower through the first corner, which was really sort of hampering my run up and over the hill and then down into Devil's Elbow. But everywhere else it was just as quick, and so it was a good decision, I think, to sit behind him, just push, not make any silly moves, and work together to try and then maybe have a bit of a fight towards the end of the race. I definitely felt I had the pace. I was making a few mistakes still, but I definitely knew that I could take this fight to the end of the race. As long as I could try and keep the KT car behind me, and of course Nick Crispin, very quick drivers, very quick cars. So it's going to be a bit of high-speed chess here, as we now push the gadget car Tom Perry up the hill. We've got the onboard of Nick Crispin there, who's right behind us. He's looking for a move on me as well, so I've got to be wise as to where I'm putting the car, when I push, when I back off. But we've made ourselves safe for Devil's Elbow once again as we travel up the hill once again. A little bit semi-defensive to Nick Crispin there, but it's not quite close enough, so I can return to the racing line, brake, turn in, get on the power again. As down the hill we go, the 5th time, follow Tom Perry through the final corner. A little bit of counter steer there, making a little bit of time, but that gap staying exactly the same. On board again with Nick Crispin, who's getting overtaken by, I think it's Alex Cockhill down the inside of Nick Crispin as I push Tom Perry up the hill again. So there's a lot going on, and that KT car is extremely quick, so if he can catch up to the back of us, we might be in a bit of trouble. But at the moment, I'm just sitting pretty, not doing anything too bold, just following Tom Perry round as Cockhill closes up on the back of me, and now I've got to go defensive as Alec goes to the outside. He's right alongside me now. I've got to brake a little bit early to get that inside line to work, get on the power early, and I've managed to hold him off. And now he's being attacked by Nick Crispin, who's down the inside of Alex Cockhill, and they're going to go side by side through the final corner as well. And they make it work, but they lose a little bit of time to us two at front as well. So I'm really starting to get a bit anxious, because although Tom Perry is quick everywhere other than the first corner, the time we're losing on the first corner is a little too much as I try and make the move down the inside, but he just closes off, and I think I got a little scared there and lifted out. I possibly should have kept the throttle pinned, but Tom manages to stay ahead. Some great defence from the gadget car there, and I've got to be a little bit more strong-willed, I think, in my attacks. But I just got a little bit, I think a little bit desperate there to get ahead, and wasn't really fully committed. I wasn't really close enough anyway. So we'll have to try again later in the race, but I think now I probably have to just sit behind Tom and do what we were doing before, because that move didn't quite work. And I've got to be careful if I'm making moves like that and Alex Cockhill and Nick Crispin behind are too close, then I'm just going to open us both up to an attack, and that could really throw a spanner in the works for both myself and Tom Perry. So got to be a bit more wise as to when I'm making my moves. Bit of understeer then at the apex, but I pushed Tom again, try and go to the outside because I didn't want to hit it. The closing speed was a little bit too quick there, so I didn't want to wreck my front end and hit the back of him. I wasn't actually trying to pass him at this point, but Tom going a bit defensive there. I was simply just trying to keep my momentum up as much as possible, because the guys behind are really close at this point. As you can see, I'm having to defend again into the hairpin from the KT Motorsport car. Alex really wanted to get past me now, and I'm starting to struggle, a little bit overwhelmed with the cars behind. We turn into the final corner once again. 12 minutes remaining on the clock, so we're almost halfway through the race. As I get a really good run out of the final corner there and start closing in on the gadget car again. I decide to go for the move, but I'm not close enough and I have to lift again. It's starting to get a little bit scrappy, but I really at this point want to get ahead. I feel like we might be quicker if I'm leading, because he can get pulled along through that first corner, and then we won't be losing the second or two that we have been in that first corner. So up the hill again, having to defend once again from the KT Motorsport car. It might be Nick Crispin around the outside. It is Nick Crispin, but I managed to hold him off once again. I was feeling a little bit sluggish up the hill, I must say, but I always managed to defend and get the better run out of that hairpin, which is solid, as we get another good run through the final corner, and Tom showing that he's ready to defend. So we'll stick behind him this once, follow him through. Just going a little bit wide on the exit of the corner, just to keep my momentum up so I don't... Every time I bumped him to push him up the hill, I just lost speed coming down the hill, and then I'd seem to get sort of attacked by the guys behind. So I was sort of just thinking a little bit about the next corner and the next corner, just not leaving myself too vulnerable. But even though I've done that, I'm having to defend once again into the hairpin, and feeling a bit sluggish up the hill, but always managing to get round and get the launch down the hill. So quite happy there, not too much of a threat as we round the final corner once again and hit the halfway mark on the race. So 10 minutes remaining in the race, really close to the back of Tom Perry now. Is there going to be a move? Am I going to have a look? I have a look, but I'm way too early on the brakes, and he just closes the door straight up once again, and I have to push him up the hill. So now coming into the final 10 minutes of the race, I need to start thinking about where I'm going to make the move, when I'm going to make the move, and how I'm going to make the move, really. As now we have Alex Cockhill. He's made a move down the inside, and I'm having to go a little bit wide, run wide on the exit, losing a little bit of pace through the corner, a little bit of momentum lost, and Alex is right there on my left, and Nick Crispin now having a look on the right, but he's not quite close enough. He is close enough, however, to take advantage of Alex missing out on that place, and they are now about to go side by side once again through the final corner, as I've lost a bit of time to Tom Perry ahead, and they're going to show us how it's done round the final corner. Very neat and tidy from the two of them, but losing that little bit of time to us two at the front. And now I've got to try and close that gap once again, get right onto the back of Tom Perry. I know where he's slower, but I've got to make the move work somehow. I've got to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more faithful in my own ability to get past as we push him down the hill again. That's a better time to catch him, really, because I'm not losing the momentum of bumping him and backing off again into Devil's Elbow. A little bit wide of the apex and up the hill once again. This is definitely where I felt most vulnerable through the race, is up the hill. Into the hairpin, fine, exiting the hairpin, very happy. So just that one weakness for me throughout the race, and I think the speed I was carrying through Devil's Elbow was a little bit shy of what was necessary. Had to try and figure that out somehow, but correcting the car slightly through the final corner, down into turn one yet again. Not close enough to make anything work this time round, but we're closing up. We've got a good gap to guys behind, so I can bump him up the hill. And I didn't lose too much momentum this time. Am I going to have a look into Devil's Elbow? Not this time. Staying safe. Still 7-8 minutes left to go. And now I'm starting to get a little bit aggy. I really want to get past him now. Not long left of the race, 7 laps. And it's now time to go absolute balls to the wall and try and get past Tom Perry. I've got an idea and I'm going to try it into the first corner. If I can get the run, build the momentum, go around the outside and then have the inside line for Devil's Elbow. So here we go. Down to braking, nice and close. Keep it really, really tight to the front of him. Go wide, but no, I've had to lift off a little bit too much into the corner and lost all that momentum. And now Alex Cockhill is down the outside of me. He's going to try it around the outside of Devil's Elbow, but I'm not going to let him do that. So we brake really, really hard into Devil's Elbow. Here we go. Big lock up from myself and I've lost the momentum. We've got to pitch it in really, really tight. Little bit of a touch on Alex Cockhill as we exit the corner and he's got the run up the hill. So now I'm vulnerable. Am I going to lose second place through trying to get first? Alex Cockhill gets down the inside and he's taken the place. And now I've got Nick Crispin on my inside. He's going to have a go through the final corner. Can I keep him away? He bails out the last minute through the final corner, so I'm safe. I've got to stay close to the back of the KT car now. And here we go down the straight. But that KT car's just got that little bit more oomph down the straight. And he's now going to make the move that I've been trying to make down the inside of Tom Perry. They touch. I've seen an opening. I'm going to go around the outside and they're still touching. Bodywork flies off. Nick Crispin narrowly misses the rear quarter panel of Tom Perry and he goes around the outside, but crucially I've managed to take advantage of that incident and I've gone around the outside and I've taken the lead with just 5 minutes to go. And Nick Crispin now sits in second position, so we've managed somehow to scrape first place out of losing initially down to third place, and we're now leading the race. But we've got Nick Crispin behind who's very, very quick and he's going to be looking to catch up to me. As long as he doesn't get hampered too much by the gadget car, by KT, he's soon going to be right on the back of me. So now I need to just push in some really, really fast laps. I've finally got free air, so now I need to try and pull away. So here we go into the first corner, first time alone. Nice and tight little correction and I managed to keep that momentum up, but we've skipped the next few laps because nothing really happened. I managed to pull a nice gap, but I make this big mistake with just 1.5 minutes left and I scraped off an enormous amount of speed now, and that big gap, which I got up to about 6 seconds, quickly closed down into the first corner to about 3, maybe 2 seconds. And now I'm a little bit worried because I haven't got long left to go and I don't want to throw this away by making a mistake like that again. So we'll just back off just that little bit for these final few laps, and now I can see I've got some back markers ahead of me and hoping that they're quick enough for me to not have to catch them, because I really don't want to have to catch them and then get hampered by some back markers and lose the lead that way, because that would be absolutely gutting. But here we go. Round the hairpin, 40 seconds on the clock. I think we're going to get an extra lap in, and those back markers are getting very close very quickly as we round the final corner for the penultimate time. Nice and neat this time, no big mess ups. And there those two are ahead. Really don't want to catch the mid corner here, but I'm not going to back off. We push, and we catch them up the hill, and now I'm in an awkward position. I want them to get out the way. You can see me waving. The Lion car moves over to one side to let me through, but I'm slightly boxed in. I'm going to have to just go for it down the inside of the back marker. Very risky. And we make it through. It's now the final lap. The clock has reached 0 as we make our way up the hill for the final time into the hairpin. Tip it in. Go on, Seb. On the throttle. Down the hill. Just one corner left. Here we go. Round the final corner. 50 metres. I'm already celebrating, and across the line for our first win. We've done it. Fantastic stuff. The first win in the 2CVs. but we've managed to, against all odds in that final 5 minutes, secure the win, kept a cool head, 1 or 2 mistakes in the final laps, but we've done it. As we come in to the pits now, you can see my team to the side cheering for me. Absolute euphoria. Absolutely amazing. I've watched this win so many times whilst recording this video, and I'm still so happy every time I watch it. My teammate unfortunately had to retire, but he's there for me. There we go. What a race. What a race.
You absolute fucking G. What a race. What a fucking race. Race winner! Where's the champagne? Get down! Yes!
That was Lydden Hill Race 2. I do hope you've enjoyed the video today. If you did, hit a like, subscribe, and enjoy more videos to come. Thank you. What a race. Like, subscribe, and watch out for some more videos. Goodbye.